Hey, this is Fred, your found footage fiend, with our latest review for foundfootagecritic.com, home of the world's largest database of found footage films and reviews. And don't forget to check out povhorror.com, the world's only VOD streaming service 100% dedicated to found footage films. Available on Amazon Fire TV, Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, and Android Mobile and iOS. So visit povhorror.com for more information. Alrighty, I don't know what that was about. Alrighty, and today I have the pleasure of reviewing Curse of Aurore, a found footage film released, I believe, earlier this year and was co-written by Moran C. Torgley and Lana Barron and was directed by Moran C. Torgley, and I'm sorry if I said your name wrong. So the story follows Casey Nolan from Mindseed TV, an actual YouTuber who does paranormal and tech reviews on his YouTube channel. But in this movie, we are looking at the aftermath of a mystery box opening where he has a doll with a USB drive kind of like wrapped around its neck, and he's very curious. He buys a burner laptop, plugs it in, and what we're watching is essentially what's on this USB drive, which segue into the movie is a trio of friends and filmmakers looking to, I don't want to say capitalize, but they're looking to make a horror movie on a actual event, a tragic event that happened, and I believe somewhere in Quebec, where Aurore, I can't say her last name, Aurore Gagnon, was a real little girl who unfortunately was the victim of child abuse. And I'll go into a little bit more going into that, but shortly after they start doing some investigative research on the topic, they start experiencing some supernatural events. And that's all I want to say with that, because as you know, we don't do spoilers here, so we're going to keep it informative but vague. So we have quite a lot of people in this movie. There's a lot of like townspeople, a lot of people they interview. So I'm going to just keep it short to the basic trio of the friends and, one or two other people. So we have, of course, Casey Nolan, who plays himself from Mindseed TV, which I thought was really cool that they integrated actual YouTuber to just give it that more authentic feel. We have the co-writer of the movie, Lana Barron. She plays Lena in the movie. We have Lex Wilson, who plays Aaron. We have Agatha Salzman, who plays Chantel. She is like the friend of Lena in this like little town that we're staying in. And then we have last but not least, of course, Jordan Kaplan, who plays Kevin. Now, I'm just a fan of this dude from when I first saw him in the third Hell House movie. I thought he was excellent and just always fun on screen, and same goes here. Also, I think in the movie he plays Kevin, and I think Kevin might be a low-key klepto and might have IBS. So I'll just throw that out there right now. Now, this movie I feel like was just made for me. No, I don't want to get too big-headed, but what I really mean is I just adored this movie overall, because there's a lot of times where people are just chilling. They're just having a good time, enjoying each other's company. They're smoking, they're just sipping wine, they're doing either research or working on this film. They're listening to Vivaldi in the background on the radio. And this would go to one of my likes in the movie was, I feel its biggest strength is this trio of friends. Their chemistry together is just blended so well, and it feels so natural. I'm not entirely sure if they're all real life friends, but I'm sure during this filming and afterwards they're probably going to just remain friends. It was a blast to just sit there and hang out with these people, and I can definitely see a lot of people just being probably a little bored because it's a slow burn, but it takes its time for a reason, because it's all about fleshing out these people so you can care about them, and it does that so well. They have banter, they have arguments. There's a very emotional scene I'll get into in a little later on, but I just feel this connection with these three people, and for me, it really helped keep me invested in the movie. Now, really quick, I want to talk about the decision of making a found footage movie based off a, if you will, true crime type of event. A girl, unfortunately, did lose her life in the 1920s in a very, very horrific way. Victim of child abuse by her parents. She died of exhaustion, of like dehydration, and like just a bunch of stab wounds and blood poisoning. It's fucked up. Like, you should definitely go research it and look into it. I did a little bit on Wikipedia, and I was just like, holy shit. I feel like this movie might get some hate for doing that. And in no way, in my opinion, does it exploit it. Does it do any disrespect to the story? I don't want to get into spoilers, so I can't really talk about my theory overall in the end, but I feel like that's going to be a big complaint for sure. But for me, I like that. There's other movies that do this type of thing. There's a scene in the movie where they're in the graveyard. They're looking for, Aurore Gagnon's, resting place. And when they find it, there's all these stuffed animals, these dolls, these toys, everything surrounding it. They legit do this in in that town, they still pay their respects to this poor little girl that died back in like 1920. And I just thought that was so cool to find out. This was no way an exploitive. This was a way to shed light on the matter. It made me look it up. I had no idea who this person was until I watched this movie. Those are my 2 cents. My opinions also on this movie, and just going forward, I need to say this. My opinions are just my opinions alone. They do not represent the entire website. There's other people that review movies on this website. So this is just my thoughts, and I just have a huge passion for this movie. I try to be fair in my reviews and still point out, you know, the negatives. I'm not gonna just sit here and say this is a groundbreaking fucking movie, because it's not. It's nothing new. But for me, this movie was, in a sense, of a breath of fresh air. All right, we're getting too serious here. Let's have some fun. The practical effects and the CGI, but let's go with the practical effects. There is a really solid scene near the end that I was very impressed with. With that scene alone, for me, I was just like, okay, that's dedication to be able to pull something off like that. And I'm sure it's not as hard as we think, but I've never worked on film, so I'm not entirely sure how that all works. But that was such a good scene, and I have to be vague. I don't want go watch the movie, and then let us know in the comments what you think. Now, there is some CGI in the movie, and I'll probably touch up on it a little bit later on. But one thing I will say, it's not overly used, so it didn't bother me too much. And if you are paying attention, you'll probably notice it. I'll leave it at that. This is where you just have to appreciate the amount of effort that this cast and crew went to make this movie. Because holy smokes, it is cold up in Canada. I have a friend up there. He's let me know the temperature it gets. And even in the movie, it looks fucking cold, okay? And the fact that these people are out there shooting, they've been putting out a lot of behind the scenes stuff on their social media, which I definitely recommend following them there. But there were parts where they're just shooting like through a blizzard. Like, fuck that noise, man. Holy smokes. I'm sorry that I'm cursing so much. And they would like take breaks in between like takes, running to like the car or in the van or something, and then hopping out and just shooting. Like, holy smokes. Also, we have Lana Barron, you know, Lena in the movie. They talk about this in the beginning of the movie, but she's got a messed up leg in the movie. And I went and found out that what really happened was she messed up her leg. And they even say this in the movie, that she messed up her leg and she was still down to freaking film and shoot this movie, haul her ass through the freaking snow. Like, man, oh, shoot. I don't know if that was recommended by the doctor, to be honest, but hey, you do you, and I get it. So you just have to appreciate when people are just willing to go that extra mile to make a film. Also, they have Vivaldi playing in the radio. Fuck yeah, dude. But there are some things that I didn't like about the movie, and I'll just go into that. There is a constant, now I don't want to say constant, but it is pretty frequently happening throughout the movie, where you see the static effect. And for me personally, I can definitely do something without that. Now, I will give the benefit of the doubt to say, okay, because we're watching footage from a USB drive that was in a box that's coming from Canada, it could have been possibly damaged. Therefore, the footage is kind of, you know, giving it that effect. But I don't know. I don't like it. Also, the CGI. Now, it's not overly used, so I can appreciate that. And it's very subtle when they do use it. But when you do see it, it's just a little cheesy. And I don't know, but it's Ghost. What can you do? You know? What can you really do? And there might have been one part in this entire movie near the end. And I think if I say anything, it might go into spoilers a bit. So I won't. But there is one part near the end that just, for a quick moment, one character had a line that just took me out the entire movie. But it's nothing too huge. I'm just, like I said, I'm literally trying to nitpick at this movie. I just enjoy it. I really did. So much that I went and bought it. Poutine! Holy shit. Poutine looks absolutely delicious, and they're eating it, and the way to describe it sounds so interesting. I've never had it, but they talk about how when you eat it, you hear like this little like squeak or something. I don't know. It's very interesting and intriguing. God, I love food. Also, there's a good scene where they're just sitting on the road smoking a joint, and it gets a little intense. Like, when I say that, you're just like, okay, what? How can something like that get intense? But it does. It's anytime they're basically just hanging out and just sipping on wine, doing research, you know, listening to music on the radio, and just smoking. That's why this is my movie. And really quick, I want to talk about this one really good scene that I really enjoyed. And it's a very emotional scene in the movie. I won't go into too much spoilers, but there's a part where Lena just has one of those moments, one of those nights where you're just in such self-doubt. And you're just, what's the point of continuing doing what you're doing? If you're not feeling like you're getting the results or anything like that? Like, it was a very good scene, in my opinion. And overall, really helped establish her as a character. And I get that shit. I totally do. I totally understand where she's coming from. As you know, we have 6 criteria here at Found Footage Critic. Reason for filming. I'm going to give this one a 9. For me, it's established at the very beginning, if you listen to the movie, that why there's a constant filming. As well, later on, they do start experiencing supernatural events, and they want to try to document that. So for me, solid 9. Believable cinematography. I'm going to give this a 9.5 because there are a lot of times where they set the camera down on like a table or on the floor, and it's at like a really obscure angle, and it's capturing like either like half a body or anything. So that feels very raw. That feels very authentic when I'm watching these type of found footage movies. Found footage purity. Now, because of that static effect, I feel like I'm gonna give this one an 8. There's also music, but it's not. It's in the background. Like I said, they're like doing research. They're just hanging around, and they just have like music in the back chilling. So it's not too noticeable, but that static effect is unfortunately noticeable. So I'm gonna just give this one an 8. Next criteria is acting. And honestly, for me personally, I'm going to give this a solid 10. I thought all 3 characters, the main 3, were phenomenal. Each one brought something to the group and in their own way stood out. You know, we have Kevin, very down to earth, very like hippie, like almost just like, I don't know. He was just such a cool fucking let's call him the wild card because he really was. We have Aaron, who is a lot more structured and a little temperamental, and it shows. It definitely shows, but I can get where Aaron's coming from. I get you, dude. And then we have Lana, who is very just free-spirited and loving and emotional and just wants to be there for you. Very selfless. Also, I thought the locals were pretty good. There might be 1 or 2 scenes where I felt like the locals might have been a little overacting, but hell, what do I know? They did a good job, and they helped add a great creepy atmosphere overall. Next, we have immersion and realism, and I'm going to give this one a 9.5. We're watching a YouTuber watching footage. You know, this YouTuber's found footage. And when you can grade finding footage and watching it in your movie and making it work, I'm all on board, honestly. And as well as, like, I keep touching on the trio of friends, but their chemistry really helps add to just the natural feel of this movie. And we have, last but not least, the plot. And I'm going to give this one a solid 10 as well, because I can definitely see, like I said earlier, people getting upset about the true crime aspect of this, the fact that they use this actual event, but it does not feel exploitive to me, and it does not feel disrespectful to me. And in the end, it's if you're paying attention, you'll understand. That's something I really enjoyed about this movie too. It's got great rewatchability, and I love when a movie has that to it. You can just rewatch it and have a good time. But I definitely recommend rewatching it because you might miss a lot of stuff in the background. And that's averaging everything up to a solid 9.3. All right, with that being said, I'm just going to go ahead and wrap up this review. Big thank you to Vito Marchese, who wrote our opening and closing theme song, Leave This Place With Me, performed by Kayla's Clone. And you can also check out Kayla's Clone's website at kaylasclone.com. So, if you've seen the movie, please let us know. If you like the movie, let us know. I definitely recommend checking out their social media because there's a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff that seems like really fun and really informative when you're wanting to learn about, making a movie or anything of that sort. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out our website. Happy Spookies!